The day of my mother's funeral was the first public speech I ever gave. I was 17 years old. My sister and brother wasn't able to get up and speak because they was crying so much. And I got up and delivered the speech, and everybody in the room said that was the most beautiful speech I've ever heard at a funeral in my life. My brother, to this day, William King Hollis don't even own a laptop. All I do is an iPhone. I built all of this, without ever going to speaking classes or any. I don't need those type of things.
You're listening to the Radcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. We're talking wisdom today, my friends. We're talking motivation. We're talking to William King Hollis. What's up, my man?
Man, what's going on, Mr. Ryan Alford, man? First off, I want to say thank you for having me on the show. You are truly a legend in the marketing space, and I truly appreciate you interviewing a young king like myself, man.
Hey, man, your team turned me on to you, and I'm like, damn, this guy's my kind of guy. Just the energy, the positivity, and talking pre-episode, I was just like, I love your vibe, man. I love what you're doing. I love the positivity. I love, just seeing the growth, that you're having as a human being and the impact you're having. So it's like, I want to have King on the show.
Yeah, what's up?
So, man, motivational speaker, author of The Best Gifts Start from the Bottom. Let's, King, let's start from the bottom, man. Yay. Mm-hmm. What's the song now? Started from the bottom, now I'm here.
Started from the bottom.
That's my jam.
That's mine too, man. I can put on my playlist. But yeah, man, we're talking about the bottom. A kid from Pontiac, Michigan, man. Mother was a heroin addict. My dad was a career criminal. Ran the streets. I bounced around from house to house. Like a lot of inner city kids, trying to understand who we are as young men, trying to understand our place on this earth and what really matters and what don't. A lot of people don't realize growing up in the inner city, you see drug dealer uncle, drug dealer cousin, drug dealer brother, and everybody goes to the penitentiary. And the only thing we remember about making money is selling drugs. So we step in their place and it becomes a life cycle. And this doesn't matter if you black, white, or yellow. This happens in all places. I've been some places in Florida where I saw different complexion people selling more drugs than anybody. But what I understood about my life and what I wanted to do for my life, I wanted to change that demographics in my community. I wanted to be a greater version, and I realized this: when a tree dies, sometimes you got to let it die. And this can be the family tree. Sometimes you got to let it go and you got to replant a new tree. You got to nurture it better. You got to love it better. You got to appreciate it better so it can grow and be something that you want it to be and something that represents you. When my mother passed away, I had a 5'6" Jewish woman named Bonnie Dutton basically take me, my brother, my sister, and basically under her wing. And what I realized is, no matter where you are, as long as you have love and you're taught the value of love, you can go on to be anything you want to be in this world. And when we used to walk in restaurants, people would stare at her, they'd look at her, they'd be like, oh, what's going on? And I remember she would say the words, what are you looking at? You don't see the resemblance? And she made us feel love. She made us feel, like we meant something. After we had been through so much of burying our mother. My mother was 37 years old when I buried her. She died from a heroin overdose that my uncle sold her. And when my mother passed, I had God on one shoulder and the devil on the other. I thank God that God pulled me in the direction of him instead of the devil, because I tell everybody with this gift of communication, Warren Buffett once said, he said, if you master the art of communication, the world is yours. And what I realized is with the power of the tongue, it's powerful when used in the right way. They say the kingdom is voice activated. Sometimes people think about it and look at me and like, look at this 32-year-old kid from Pontiac, Michigan, the son of a heroin addict. How is he inspiring, teaching these people? How is he touching these people? He's not saying the most profound thing you ever heard in your life. It's not that. The voice is an instrument of God. And sometimes, you know, certain instruments, even as you know that we love Michael Jackson, instruments vibrate the soul. Everybody doesn't have a voice that instrumentally vibrates the soul. It just touches the ear. It can't get to the soul. And I realized this. This is when I discovered my purpose, King. I went to a Tony Robbins conference. And when I went to the conference, it had a gold, silver, and bronze package. I was all the way in the bronze in my last 50 bucks.
You're on row 423. You could have watched it on YouTube, but you were on the last row of the theater. But being there in person makes it a little different, doesn't it?
Yes. So I saw my opportunity. It was a seat open in silver. I snuck up to the front, got to the silver. But this is why God told me to do this. When I got to the silver, Tony Robinson walked past the gold. He walked to the silver. He stopped at the bronze, spoke for a second, turned around and talked to the silver and gold. A whisper came in my head and it said, who speaks to the broken? Who speaks to the poor? Who speaks to the people that cannot give them anything but a word of inspiration saying, I made it because of you. I said, the only way a man can change this world, he must be willing to give without getting anything in return. That's the sacrifice a man must make to make a change. And our duties in this lifetime is to live full and die empty. My great mentor, Les Brown once told me, he said, William, if you focus on the broken will fix you. Let me repeat that. If you focus on the broken will fix you.
That's powerful.
And what happens is, when you serving and you speaking to these people and you talking from a place not that I'm higher than you, I'm talking from a place that I'm in the fight right with you. I'm chasing my dream right with you. And people tend to listen to people that's in the grind with them than individuals that stand on top of mountains and look down on them. So what I said was, who gonna go to the slums of Baltimore and speak in the hood? I will. Who gonna go to Kingston, Jamaica 3 times and speak in the most dangerous cities in the city? I did. Who gets Ambassador of Peace Awards in the most dangerous cities of Kingston, Jamaica? I did. Because God said, Will, if you focus on the broken, I will take every pain that you ever had in your life and I will remove it from your body and I will turn your pain into strength. A lot of people don't know when they're on the edge, that's when all the strength is being made. The way I look at every event when I step on the stage, I look at 1 million people standing on a ledge. I got 45 minutes to talk these 1 million people off this 10,000-foot ledge. I don't want one person in the room. I want the entire room. That's my mission. So when I go in and I speak, I bring something totally different. I studied Earl Nightingale. I studied T.D. Jakes. I studied Les Brown. I studied Jim Rome. And you know what? We put all that, we brought all that all up in one ball. And now you got William King Hollis. Somebody that don't need no pen, no pad, no sticky notes. Give me my topic. Let me feel the energy of the room, and I'm going to deliver a speech that you never seen before. I don't care what topic you is. Let me tell you something. Entrepreneurs has forgotten the child that laid on the mother's lap. The ones that got so high, they forgot about the days of walking miles to get a pack of noodles in college. They forgot about the days when the dream meant something, when they talked about it at the bar with their friends. They forgot about the essence of the dream. So now they made it to the top, and now they're empty inside. That's why you see suicide among CEOs. They lost their passion. They had nothing more to fight for because they forgot the first purpose: to help the world. You'll get all the way to the top and you'll realize I never helped anybody else but me. Then when you lay down at night, you got millions of dollars in the bank account. But when you go to heaven and when God calls you home, God says, guess what? You were a poor man. Why would you say that? I have millions of dollars, God. You help nobody. A poor man is a man that helps nobody. That's a poor man. A rich man is a man that comes home every day after working that job, sits down at the dinner table, prepares that dinner, and say they did it. That's a rich man that has a family. Society has rich and poor mixed up. Rich is family. Not the yachts, not the boats, not the cars or the clothes. Rich is your beautiful wife, your children, your son that lays on your chest when he needs you. That's rich. Something that money can never buy. So every day I wake up with a mission to open the eyes of human beings all over the world, to make them understand that they're human and that we only have a moment to live. Make sure you live in it. What you do on this earth is your test run. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your test run. Think about it. When they created the Tesla, they created an assembly line. They tested the cars until they seen it was ready. How many chances have God given you? He tested you. He tested you. He tested you. And guess what they do with the cars that don't work? They turn it into sheet metal. They throw it away. God can't work with that. I gave you chance after chance. It might be somebody listening right now today. God has gave you chance after chance. But you still don't give him the respect that he deserves. You don't even, sometimes you can ask an entrepreneur, when the last time that you dropped to your knees and you thank God from bringing you from that Volvo to that Lamborghini? When was the last time you thank God for taking you from that Section 8 apartment to that condo downtown Los Angeles? Sometimes we don't remember how far we came. I remember sleeping in the shelter, creating speeches in the corner on an iPhone. Never ever imagining nobody had ever listened to me. But the world listened to a homeless kid. That's what God told me. Work for your purpose and not the money, because your purpose will make you shine brighter than any individual that walks this earth. If you make yourself the currency, no one can ever stop you. Money can never buy you. Nobody can buy you, because you are the currency. And that's what I dream to be, is the currency and the person that puts his money where his mouth is and inspires and helps communities all over the world.
Where did your ability come from? I mean, I know you're going to say God, and I respect that, but and I know you studied, so it wasn't, you studied others, but where did the gifts come from? I mean, like, was it just, because were you this way when we were 15? I don't,
I would King. That was the first time somebody ever asked me. That's so crazy. I actually was the guy that used to go around to everybody's house and convince everybody, mom and dad, to let them come out and play football. I was that guy. I was always inspired. I was like, hey,
I remember that kid.
Yeah, supposed to knock on the door too early. Yo, can Jimmy come out and play football? Hey, we need him. We need him so bad. He's so talented. He's so talented. But no, I honestly, man, when the day my mother passed away, the day of my mother's funeral.
How old were you?
Was the first public speech I ever gave. I was 17 years old. And my sister and brother wasn't able to get up and speak because they was crying so much. And I got up and delivered the speech, and everybody in the room said that was the most beautiful speech I've ever heard at a funeral in my life. And one of the prophets at the event said, she said, you're no athlete. Just keep living. And one day, man, I was in a shelter, and I got up and created a speech in the corner with a pillow on an iPhone called Young King. A kid in Philadelphia named Basquiat Picasso, shout out to a kid named Ricky Griffin, was nothing more but a little teenager out in Philadelphia putting together YouTube videos. And I got these cheap Vistaprint cards and put them on the dash of the board at the gym, the Gold's Gym in Reading, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Reading, Pennsylvania, the Abraham Lincoln Hotel, and everybody down there. And Ricky said, can you send me a speech? And I said, just so happened to have Young King in my audio. I sent it to him. He posted me in a compilation with Tony Robbins, Les Brown, all the top guys. And everybody in the comment section was like, who in hell is William King Hollis? And he posted the whole Young King speech, went viral. It was one of the most recognized speeches. I believe they took it down now because somebody bought the channel off of them or something like that. But it was one of my biggest breakout speeches. Man, it started just like that. Then I started walking to churches. I picked up the $75 suit, man. It had this bright pink tie on. And I used to just walk around the city with my little Vistaprint cards, because now I'm a motivational speaker. Basquiat Picasso on YouTube trying to make me a motivational speaker. So I got it all in my head, man. And as I'm coaching, I was coaching this arena team out in Reading, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Bernie Nortowski. This man is definitely a part of my story and helped me grow into the man that I am. Took me in when I was homeless, put me in the basement, and basically gave me a coaching job, man. Coached my first team. Then I moved into the hotel, moved out of this spot, and stayed at the hotel. But one day a teacher was at a football game, and she was listening to me speak to the football players. And one day she came and she was like, I like how you talk. I got like 5-star athletes that go to Reading Intermediate High School. It's a high school that we send children that can't function in the regular high school, but they're star athletes. She was like, I need you to come and speak to them. So I went and spoke to them. Within 5 minutes, they were in tears, man. And I was walking back to the hotel. This is the first time that I was talking about my story. It made me emotional. It made me suicidal, actually. I was walking back to the hotel, the Abraham Lincoln Hotel in Reading, Pennsylvania, to blow my brains out. And I got about 5 minutes from the hotel, and the teacher called me and was like, how much do you charge to speak? And I was like, $75 or $100. And I didn't know nothing about speaking, nothing about it at this time.
Did she tell you should charge more?
No, she didn't. She was like, oh, wow, that's excellent. We can do it. Let's close the deal. So we did that. She gave me a couple of dollars. And I think they all put together like 500 total. I ended up getting like 500 total. And that was after I finished the event. They're like, whoa, we had to get a little more, a couple of dollars. So after I went, 2 weeks later, I went in. Well, after she called me, I went into the hotel and looked up motivational speaker. I just typed in motivational speaker. Les Brown in the Georgia Dome popped up. I saw how he talked about his story, kept a smile on his face, and I was real good at that because as a kid, we couldn't afford all the football camps. So, we watch YouTube videos of athletes, study the moves, study everything, and then go to the game and do it. That's how we learn. That's how I learned in the speaking industry. I watched Les Brown, didn't do no speaking class, none of that type of stuff. Just watched them, a lot of different speakers. And I went to the school, delivered a speech, got a standing ovation. 8 years later, fast forward 8 years later, like I said, over 900 million views on YouTube, history in Milan, first speaker speak during Milan Fashion Week, platinum spoken word album, over 1 million streams worldwide. Best-selling book that's self-published. It's in just got put in Barnes and Nobles last week, and independently self-published. Just everything organic. I've done everything organic. I built my whole career without any ads, never ran any ads, never did anything. I give my all credit to God for my entire career, man. Like I am, like I said, the Time by Lou clip where I say you cannot be great if you cannot operate in chaos. That's been the reason why I said that quote. The reason why it's over 10 million views on my page, celebrities, everybody. That has been my whole career and my whole life. I had to operate in chaos.
You seem to have embraced social media though early. I mean, YouTube, now with everything else, like, is that just innate in you? Like you saw the opportunity to leverage these platforms to build your brand?
My brother, to this day, William King Hollis don't even own a laptop. No. No. All I do is an iPhone. Yeah. I built everything y'all see from an iPhone, from the speeches to the pain and purpose video you see on YouTube with Motiversity. All I did, I recorded a video against a white wall, nonstop. A lot of people don't know. I freestyle all my speeches. I don't write anything. So what I do is I go in. I can go in for an hour speaking. God has just touched me. Motiversity just chopped the video up, added movie depictions in the middle of it, put instrumentals on it, and it became a platinum album. I literally created that off my iPhone. My whole career was created off an iPhone. Shout out to
Apple executives, if you're listening, you need to pick up this guy right here. This needs to be the next Apple commercial. Today's podcast brought to you by iPhone.
I'm telling you, King. I'm telling you. And Apple, I want to give a shout out to Apple. Huge shout out on this amazing podcast. Major shout out to Apple for connecting the world with each other, man, and giving everybody an opportunity to reach the masses, man. And to me, no offense to the Android family and all those other guys out there.
It's not as easy to use.
Yeah, King Hollis is an Apple man. I'm an Apple man.
There you go. I bet you we could get an Apple on that chain if we got them on the sponsor tour.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, King. That'd be dope. That's a dope chain. Hey, that's a great idea, King.
See, there you go. That's how you get people. That's the people that people don't realize. You got to do it before you get the people want to get the sponsor, but you got to actually show them the love beforehand.
Yeah.
Yes.
So King, I'm just learning, man. Like I said, I built all of this, without ever going to speaking classes or any. I don't need those type of things. The main thing for me is just continuing to learn, man, and always being open to learn and be a student of the game, man. Being a student of this, like right now, we don't live in a generation where a lot of older individuals see young kings and be like, yo, man, I want to see this young man be great. I want to see this young man be successful. Now we got men that want to be boys.
Yeah.
I watched this episode of Boardwalk Empire, and it changed my life on the way I dress at events, wearing suits and things of those nature. It's not about being corny. In the episode of Boardwalk Empire, Al Capone had to escort this Jewish man around town. The Jewish man would call Al Capone boy over and over and over again. Thank you, boy. Thank you. Everything Al Capone did. And one day Al Capone said, man, why the hell do you keep calling me boy? And the Jewish man replied to Al Capone, as long as you wear the hat of a boy, you'll always be perceived as a boy. And it changed my whole mindset when it came to life. If a young man or a little boy in my neighborhood never sees a man, he can never know what a man is. So it's not that I'm dressing and putting this suit on because I'm just big on suits, but I know it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me.
You're like a sponge, man. Like, I always say the most successful people are the most curious people and the most interested, like that absorb things. And I feel like there's like something naturally magnetic about you in the way you take things in and then translate it in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
That's your gift.
That's my gift.
I mean, you got a lot of gifts, but that's
my gift.
I'm hearing you talk, and I'm watching you, and I'm seeing how you interpret things, but then you make it your own. It's a real gift.
You know what I have? I have a mentality of I cannot fail. I put everything into this. I put everything, my heart, my soul, my blood, my sweat. I slept outside on concrete for opportunities. I put everything into this. So when you put everything into something, you operate from a standpoint of seizing every opportunity that comes your way. And when you get to that level, that's that Mamba mentality. That mentality that when they want to party, I'm going to work. I'm 32. I can be in the clubs. I can be having fun. I can be out at the bars. But guess what? It's bigger than me. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I got to represent myself as a leader, a king, not a peasant. And if I got to sacrifice that at 32 years old for the betterment of humanity in the world, I do not believe that a man cannot change the world. I believe a man can change the world. A man can change the world if he leads the people on side of him and not behind them. Don't tell your brother and sister to stand behind you. Tell them to stand on side of you. They're going to fight with you. They're going to believe. Give your brothers and sisters a voice. They're going to ride with you. Because the worst thing you can do, ladies and gentlemen, the rise and fall of every organization is an arrogant king that didn't give his people a voice. That's the fall of every kingdom. Like I was telling you before we started on just a casual conversation we was having, where did the word king come from for me? When I was a little boy, I was sitting in the living room, Eddie Murphy, Michael Jackson, Remember the Time video come on. I remember dancing to it every day until one day, probably like the 10th time watching the video, I asked my mom, I said, what is Michael Jackson? And my mom looked at me and she said, that's a king. And I said, I'm a king.
The king of pop.
And it stuck with me. It stuck with me for my whole life. It's something and when I look at every human being, I call them king. I greet them with king. How you doing, king? How you doing, queen? You royalty. You mean something. You special. That's what matters. It's making other people feel special.
I'm gonna get my friend. He started an apparel company. It's called Kings Over Cowards. I'm gonna get him to send you some shirts.
I love it, man. That would be dope. I love to shoot some content in it.
Oh yeah. And I remember Eddie Murphy, The Golden Child, the movie.
My favorite, another favorite.
Oh yeah. I think that's
the
kind
reason
of
why I don't like oatmeal.
yeah, exactly. I don't really eat oatmeal either. It might be because of that. Oh, it was odd. Yeah, it was odd. All right? So what stands out, King? I mean, you've done a lot. You're going a lot. I mean, you're just getting started in some ways, but what stands out that it's like nothing's the pinnacle, because I could tell, like you know, the best is yet to come. But talk to me about some standout moments the last few years.
A standout moment for me, man, was getting the Ambassador of Peace Award in Kingston, Jamaica. It was one of the greatest and most humble experiences I ever experienced in my life. Just being a kid from the inner city of Pontiac, Michigan, and being something like a folk hero in Kingston, Jamaica, amongst the people. And for them to put $10,000 together in a poor city like that, to bring me over there and speak to every hood and every city in Kingston, Jamaica, it was truly an honor, man. I had a privilege I did the second annual One Love conference. It was, the first one was with Bob Marley when he had got shot and still went to perform. Ironically, right before my event, 3 people was murdered in front of the gate. They thought I wasn't going to do the event, and I did the event. No fear. It was a great experience because I met people like King Yellowman, creators of so much different music. I built a relationship with the community. I even stayed in the community. I slept in the community. Like, I didn't get a 5-star hotel. I stayed amongst the people, showered out of a bucket, water, carrying my bucket downstairs to fill it up, to take baths. I wanted to feel the experience of what it was like to live that life. And that was the day my life changed. That was the moment my career went to the next level. Not because of the history of Milan. I'm not going to talk about the Paris Hilton event, all this other stuff. I'm not going to talk about all that. What changed my life is when I went to the Marcus Garvey grave site where his bones laid. And when I got there, the roster man told me to take my shoes off. And I took my shoes off and I walked on it, and I felt the electricity from the they have these rocks, like these marble rocks in the ground around his grave site. You could feel the vibration from the rocks. And there sits a mural, and the rosterman tells me to speak to him. He told him to tell him everything that I plan to do in my life. And when I left Kingston, my speaking level rose to a level that sometimes when I speak, King, it's an out-of-body experience. And it's like my ancestors channel that power in the right words. Because you got to understand, I was a special ed student, right? I've never read more than 3 books in my entire life, because of the simple reason when you read a lot of books, God has given all of us an original creation, something that the world has never seen. It's something inside of all of us that God has given us. It's something that the world has never seen. But when we read different people's paths and stories, we taint our original juices, our original creation that God only has for us. No other man has it. Only you. But when you read other people's paths, that's not my path that God gave me. That was his. If I walk his, I'll be a carbon copy. But if I walk mine, I'll be something that the world never forgets. That's a legend. That's a legend. The first to do it. We don't have enough of that these days. The first to do it. Remember when they first went to the moon? Neil Armstrong, he was the first to do it. It was special then. Now they go all the time.
I love it. Stand out or stand down.
Stand out or stand down. Everybody's going 100,000 miles per hour. You haven't even started the engine yet. I can't take no breaks. I can't stop. I got a piss in the bottle in the car. I can't stop. I gotta grind. And you gotta understand the why of this grind. I want every poor kid in every city, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Chinese, it doesn't matter. I want you to know that you are great. You can be anything you want to be if you tap into the original. The original. A lot of people say they love people. A lot of people say they love humanity. A lot of people racist and hateful. But they don't understand that we're going to the same place, man. Why are you fighting each other to go to the same place? You kill the person you hate to meet them again in the next life. You can't escape. That's why we're never meant to hate each other. We're meant to love and uplift each other and help each other in the places that we lack in. I love all people because all people has a little special something in them that we can't find in anybody else. And you can either, for me, you're right, I'm a sponge. I can sit in the room and listen to somebody and learn everything about them, possibly tell their story better than they tell their story.
No doubt.
And what I realize in all of that is God sacrificed himself for us to be here. You don't recreate the wheel. Remember what I said in the beginning? The only man that will change this world is a man that's willing to give his life and get nothing in return. But you don't get nothing in return. You leave seeds. When Marcus Garvey was captured in London, they had him in court. And what the judge said, we have finally captured the bear. And Marcus Garvey replied, you might have captured the bear, but my cubs are running loose. And that's what inspiration does. It's a gift that keeps on giving. All these entrepreneurs, I hear you all the time talking all that shit about motivation is this and motivation is not that. But you know, like I know, your whole career was started off of inspiration. Everything is birthed in inspiration. Because if you're not inspired by it, you won't go after it. Some people inspired by the money. That's why they're rich. That's why they're a rich nobody. And some people are driven by the legacy. Think about the greatest people with the greatest legacy was the brokest. They died broke. They died broke because they realized that the true meaning of riches is giving everything up. Giving it all. What Coach used to say when you used to get on the court, King, give it all up today, King.
That's right.
That's what we got to do in life. To lay on that deathbed and smile as our last breath leave our body. I gave it everything. I gave life everything. How many people can say that today? They may watch this interview. I gave it everything. You can ask yourself and look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself that question. Talking about mirrors. I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah. A lot of people probably don't want that answer back, though. They know the answer back. They didn't give it all. Where's it going, man? What's on the bucket list?
My bucket list right now, man, is to create unity throughout the world, man. I want to do a tour called Pushing Peace Tour. My team is now searching for sponsors, people to, just get behind me. Everybody know in the speaker industry, a lot of top speakers that have a lot of sponsors. I've yet to get my first sponsor yet. That's something I've always reached out to just so I can start doing more events, mental health events for students around the country. The suicide rate is through the roof. With all the school shootings, the kids are traumatized. And I want them to know that it's nothing to fear, man. The only thing you must fear is the opportunities that you miss out on. Live life full and die empty. The kids must know who they are and what they represent and what they play in this generation, man. And my main thing is love. We got to spread love and inspiration. There's no topic. A lot of people get it misconstrued when they talk about booking me. It's not just students. It's life. It's entrepreneurs. It's that guy that lost that passion, that workforce that lost that passion, that lost that it factor, that took them to the level that they are today. I just remind people, I'm not no messiah. I'm like an alarm clock. I'm just a reminder of the greatness that lives inside of you. That's all I am. I'm not greater. I'm not better. I'm just a man chasing my dream, just like the rest of these kings around the world. But I'm willing to help other people on the way to the top. That's the difference. A lot of people believe you can't help people on the way to the top, but that's the best time to help people because you're learning and they're learning too. It's enough for success for everybody out here, every speaker. No reason to hate on each other, no reason to be against each other. It's one objective. One objective. Bring love to a world that has lost it.
There you go.
If you can do that, baby, you'll die a beautiful death, man. They're like, man, why that man smiling on that bed like that, man? Because he left everything he had on the earth. He gave it all he got.
Where can everybody keep up with you, man? I could talk to you all day.
They can find me at William King Hollis on YouTube, William King Hollis on Instagram, WilliamKingHollis.org. Doing some moderations on that, so that should be up in the next 48 hours or so. My new website, and if anybody if ever interested in booking me, reach out to my manager AJ Brown, a guy that I work with. Also Maria, shout out to Maria for setting this amazing interview up. Major shout out to Maria. We love you. And thank you for all your amazing gifts and what you do for humanity in the world. And most importantly, thank you for allowing me to get introduced to this amazing individual, Mr. Ryan Alford, man. I want to tell you, man, thank you so much, man. If there's ever any collaborations or anything you ever need me for, you ever doing anything for the community, man, I would love to help you bring some light to some cities, man. And if anybody's listening to this, and I don't know why I was compelled to say this on my heart. If anybody listening to this message today, and you're ready to give up on life, understand that sometimes life will feel like God is dropping you from a 10,000 feet building, but right before you hit the ground, I promise you, He's going to catch you. He's going to catch you.
Man, I love the energy. I love it. It's a different episode for us, and I knew it would be. But I wanted people to hear your message and hear your positivity and your energy. And, I see some ways we might can collaborate in the future. I got some events down the road and some things like that. So, I'll be in touch on that side and really appreciate you coming on.
Such an honor, man. Thank you so much, Mr. Alfred.
Hey guys, you know where to find us, theradcast.com. Search for King. You'll find all the highlight clips from today. William King Hollis. Go follow him. Follow his story. I mean, what's not to like about spreading love? We hope you love the Radcast. You know where to find me. I'm at Ryan Alford on all the platforms. We'll see you next time on the Radcast.